and we're back with a new tutorial for you. So in this one then, I'm going to be showing you how to make a modern apartment building. So in this tutorial then, I'm going to be showing you how to make the exterior and the interior, but for this episode we're going to be focused on the exterior. But the way I'm actually going to be showing you how to make this building is I'm going to be showing you how to make the bottom floor, and then you just need to repeat this for the other 13 floors above. Also, one other thing before we actually start the build, on screen now is a floor plan which you can always refer to if you get lost at any point in the video. So to begin with then, we're just going to start with our doorway, and all you want to do with this is just to place 2 quartz blocks out to begin with, and then just extending them up another 4 blocks, so they should be both 5 blocks in height. After this though, on the left hand side of this, we're just going to count 4 blocks away, and on the 4th block just placing another 2 blocks out, and just repeating exactly what we just done, by extending them both up another 4 more blocks. So you can see now we have now added our doorway, and we're just going to carry on round and finish off the rest. So for this then, you just want to begin by coming to the left hand side of the bottom left hand block we just added, and here just placing 5 blocks up with your grey wool. But afterwards on the left of this, just placing another 2 blocks out, and again extending them both up. Next though, we are just going to place another 2 more rows out with our grey wool, but this time you only want to place them at 4 high this time. Then on the left of this, as you can see in the image on screen, we are just going to be adding a window next. So for this then, you just want to replace the first grass block in the floor with a quartz block, and then on top of it just placing 4 glass panes on top of each other. But afterwards on the left of this, just adding 1 more row of grey wool, and again making it 4 blocks in height. So that's that small section done there. Next though, we're just going to be adding a window. So for this, you just want to begin by placing 5 high with your quartz, diagonal to the grey wool we just placed. And then on the left of that, just clearing out the first 3 grass blocks, and then another 2 behind the last block. So in all of the grass blocks we have just cleared out, you can just go ahead and fill it with your quartz. So on top of all our quartz blocks, we are just going to be adding our glass panes, but before we do that, we're just going to add 1 more quartz pillar on the left hand side of the far left hand block we cleared out. So again, placing it 5 blocks in height. Then as I mentioned, on top of all of these blocks, we're just going to be adding our glass panes, and you want to place them at 5 blocks in height on top of all of them. So the window we have just added here is actually going to be where our elevator is going to be, and this does actually mark the bottom left hand corner for the apartment building. But next though, we can just carry on with the left hand wall, and again starting with your grey wool, we're just going to come diagonal at the back, where you just want to place 4 blocks out, and we're just going to extend all of these up so they're 4 blocks in height. But on the left of this, we are just going to be adding 2 more rows of grey wool, and this time though, you just want to leave a 1 block space between each of them. So in the 2 spaces that we have just left, we are just going to be adding our windows, and as we have so far, just replacing the grass block in the floor with a quartz block, and then on top, we're just going to be placing 4 high with our glass panes. After you've done this though, we are just going to be carrying on round and finishing off this side now. So the next thing we are going to be onto this side is another window. except this time we're just going to be making it 3 wide. But you just want to start this off by coming diagonal in front and just placing 5 high with your quartz blocks. Then on the left of that, you just want to come diagonal at the back, and this is where we're going to be placing our window. So for this then, to start off with, you just want to clear out the first 3 grass blocks and replace them with your quartz blocks. But before we do actually place our glass panes on top, we're just going to come back on the other side and just place 1 more quartz row diagonal again. Next though, you just want to come behind the 2 quartz pillars that we just added, and you just want to extend them out by 1 more row. And then afterwards, just placing your glass panes in the centre, and this time though, you just want to place them 4 high with a row of quartz on top. So that is the left hand wall almost finished off, but the last thing we need to do is just to place 1 more section of grey wool on the left, and for this you just want to place 6x4 with it. And that is the whole of the left hand wall finished off. So now we're just going to start on the back. So all we're going to do to begin this off is we're just going to come to the bottom left hand row, where we are just going to extend our grey wall out by another 5 more rows behind. Then directly in front of this section we just added, we are just going to add a little bit more decoration with our quartz. So you just want to count from the right to the 4th row in, and here just placing 5 high with your quartz on the row in front. Once you have done that though, after we sleep, we're just going to be adding 3 grey wool columns, and for each of these then, you just want to leave a 1 block space between all of them. Now just to extend them all up to the same height. As you might have guessed then, in between all of the spaces that we've left, we're just going to be adding our windows. Now that we've done that bit then, and sticking with our grey wool, we're just going to extend the far left hand grey wool column out by another 5 more rows. And that does also mean we've finished off the whole of the back wall once you've actually added this. So we are now past the halfway point, and all we've got left to do for the base layer is just the right hand wall and part of the front. But once you have actually got the base layer down, it's super easy to do the rest, as again you can copy what you've done on this floor for the rest of them. But next though, we're just going to start on the right hand wall, and all we're going to do for this to begin with is just place 1 row of grey wool and then a 3 wide window next to this. Next on the left, you just want to place 2 more rows of grey wool with a 1 wide window on the left of that. and afterwards, to finish off this section, just adding one more row of grey wool. So once you have finished off this section then, we're just going to come diagonal in front, where we are just going to place one quartz column, which is 5 blocks high. But after this, you just want to place one more row of grey wool diagonal behind, and then on the left, on the row in front again, you just want to place one quartz column again. Next then, just placing 2 rows of grey wool, followed by one wide window, and then after that, one column of grey wool again. So as you can see now, we haven't actually got too much left to do for the base layer, but next you just want to place one more quartz column on the row in front, and then on the left of that just a 3 wide window. The last thing we need to do then for this bit is just to place one quartz column and then a 4 wide window connecting to the other wall after that. Again, if you do get lost while you're doing this, or you find that it doesn't actually connect to where it should, I'd suggest taking a look at the floor plan at the beginning and making sure yours matches up exactly as mine does. But if it does connect then, that is the hardest bit done, and that does also mean that we've finished our floor plan now. So the next thing we are going to be doing is just going around the whole of the top layer with our quartz, and then we're just going to fill in the first floor layer. So for this bit then, the easiest way to see how I actually do this is just to follow what I'm doing on screen, as again you can easily see then which bits are missing out and which bits you actually need to fill in. But we are just going to start by filling in the row above our doorway, and then we're just going to carry on round from there. For the left hand wall then, we're just going to be placing a quartz row all the way along, apart from above the 3 wide window. But after this, you can just fill in all of the back wall, and then we are just going to come around to the right hand wall, which we're going to do similar, except this time it's same as the left one. You just want to miss out the space above the 3 wide window. Now just to do the right hand wall, and once you have done that, we're just going to add one tiny bit more to the front. For the front section then, as I mentioned, we're just going to place 4x2 out on top of our glass panes. And there you go then, we have now added all of the quartz layer around the outside that we needed to add. The next thing we're going to do then is we're just going to be filling in the first floor layer, and then we can start on the remaining floors. So before we do actually start that, we just need to mark the outside for the elevator shaft so you don't actually fill that in. And all you want to do for this is just connect the outside quartz row on either side. Now, as I mentioned, for the rest, you can just fill it all in. And there you go then, that's the first floor done. So we can now repeat this for the other 13 floors. So you just want to do exactly the same as what we've done here, except for the remaining floors, you just want to fill in the back row that we left for our doorway with your grey wool. But I am going to be showing you how to do this for the second floor, and then after that I'm just going to be speeding it up. But as I mentioned, if you do get stuck while you're actually making the other floors, you can refer to the start of the video where I showed you the floor plan, look at the first layer that you've actually made, or simply follow along to the video showing you how to make the first layer. For the second floor then, we're just going to start off by doing exactly the same as what we did for the first floor, by placing 2 5-high quartz columns. And then you want to do the same on the left, where we place the other 2 quartz columns. Then the only bit that we are actually going to do different for the rest of the floors is we're just going to fill in the space that we left for our doorway with our grey wool. So for this, you just want to place it 4 high with it. Once you have done that now, you can just carry on and do the same for the remaining floors. So I will be showing you how to make the next 3 floors for people that still want to follow along, but I am going to be speeding it up. But by the end of this episode then, once you have done that, you should have all of the exterior done for the apartments. And then in the next episode, we can start our interior and add a little bit more decoration around the apartments. One thing I forgot to mention though, once you actually have placed all of your 14 floors, is on the roof, you just want to fill in all of the remaining spaces and just replace any glass panes you've got left in the roof. And that's the first 4 floors placed, so that does wrap up everything we're going to do for this episode, and in the next episode we're going to start on the interior. So by next episode then, as I mentioned, you should have all of your 14 floors placed and the roof filled in.